Okay, so here we have my birthday leg workout. It was my birthday on Monday, November 28th, so I decided to train legs because that's my normal Monday thing. Now, what's happening right here is not super exciting visually. What I'm doing is I'm actually stretching. This is a cross-legged glute stretch, and this actually helps to stretch open the piriformis muscles. So it's a really good way to open up kind of the internal glute muscles that are responsible. Well, basically, what happens if they're tight, they're going to limit range of motion in a squat. They're going to tug and pull on your lower back. It's going to be pretty uncomfortable. So the benefit of doing this is that it helps to open up those tissues. I also really enjoy doing it because it gives me a chance to kind of get my mind into the workout. I'll be able to focus kind of on what my intent is, remind myself of my goals, kind of talk my way away from business mind, So it just gives me a chance to kind of get in the zone, and I really appreciate that opportunity because it is sometimes difficult to switch your brain over that quick. For each of these sides, I usually hold for roughly between 30 to 60 seconds, and that's enough time to where anything that's tight will start to relax a little bit, and you can get more movement in that tissue. And then in my following warm-ups, I'll get the blood flow, get the tissue opened up even more. But if these muscles are tight, the muscles of the inner glutes, especially the piriformis, it does tug and pull in your lower back, so you'll have lower back pain, and it'll limit mobility in your squat. So it sounds funny, but just 30 seconds on each leg can make the entire rest of the workout that much better and that much less pain. So it sometimes is something that people will skip, but it's definitely something they should do. What you see here now is I'm in a half kneeling position, so I'm on one knee, the other foot's out in front of me to balance myself, and I'm doing hip tilt rotations. So I'm kind of tucking my butt underneath me, and then I'm arching my butt back behind me. What this does is it helps to pull open the hip flexor and the upper quadricep muscles. If these muscles are tight, they kind of limit your eccentric control, eccentric comfort and ability on squats, and it'll make squats just feel heavier and kind of more crickety than they need to. So this is, again, just something super quick. It's just 10 rotations of the hips, and this is something that kind of undoes the tightnesses that we create from chronic sitting. So when I'm sitting at the computer, these muscles tend to tighten up. So before I'm about to go squat and put a lot of weight on my back, I'm going to want to make sure I reestablish healthy hip positioning. So that's the idea of this movement. Now in this area, in this corner of the gym, you can see we have a lot of charts, a lot of jerseys up there. So I've worked with a lot of Olympic athletes and other clients and people of various kinds. On the green table behind me there, we do a lot of kind of stretching mobility work and therapies to get people movement ready, so movement preparation work. What I'm doing now is a PNF kind of stretch, and I'm contracting my glute. So I'm in the same half kneeling position. I'm contracting my glute, and then I relax my glute and I push my hips further. I contract my glute, I relax my glute, and push my hips further. This further stretches the upper part of the quadriceps and really gets into kind of like the belly of the quadriceps. So this is a real quick and easy technique. Again, you just squeeze the glutes for about a second or two, you relax, and then push further into the stretch. The key is you can notice I'm not leaning back, I'm not leaning forward. You want to maintain an upright torso. That whole routine barely takes 5 minutes, but you feel amazing afterwards. Now what I'm going to is seated calf raises. I want to get my calves bigger, so that's why I'm doing these. And then also you can increase your movement range of motion, freedom of range of motion in squats by making sure you have good ankle mobility. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually doing kind of bottom partials. I'm not getting a full contraction. I'm just doing bottom partials for 30 repetitions. And then I try to sit in a full stretch for around 30 seconds. This is incredibly painful. It does not look like it. It's not impressive. There's only one plate on the machine, but it's incredibly painful. And it really helps open up the soleus muscle, which is the muscle that's deep underneath the gastrocnemius, which is the calf muscle you can see. So this really opens up ankle mobility. And you can see my ankles are pretty flexed right there. So now, when I go to squat, which I'm doing later in the workout, if my ankle range of motion stops, I have to make up for that in my hips or my lower back. So this is going to make sure that I get full range of motion out of my ankle joints. You can see me kind of touch my face there real quick because I was in quite pain. So I jump out and try to run away. And then this is a side view so you can see where the feet are placed. So you want it kind of like right at the base of your toes and just really letting the ankle kind of stretch open. Then I moved on to doing machine abductors, which is where you push out, as you can see here, and then machine adductors, where you push in. This is just a good way, especially this position where I'm leaning forward and holding on to the machine. This really helps to open up the adductors, open up the hips for what the bottom position of a squat looks like. So if you notice there, it's pretty much similar to the bottom of a squat, and I'm really getting to open up hip mobility and hip movement. So it doesn't take much, just 1 or 2 sets of 20 to 30 reps and you're good to go. But again, all of this stuff really prepares you to squat and feel so much more comfortable. So that way the actual muscles are the problem. They're burning and dying, not that you have, a knee pain or a back pain or something else. So here I am doing the adductor, and again, these are not like maximal weight loads. They're getting a good burn in the muscle, but I'm not going to failure. I'm not trying to destroy the muscle. I don't want to create any actual damage. I'm just trying to push a lot of blood flow and open up the available range of motion. So that way, as I get into the full extent of a squat, kind of the full stretched position of a squat, I'll have all of these muscles ready and I won't feel anything, like I said, tugging and pulling on my joints. So that's kind of a quick and fast warm-up for me. All of that maybe takes about 10 minutes. It's pretty fast. Now this is a fun setup. Right here I have our Mars bar, which my mom and dad and Meredith got me last year for my birthday. I'm using it backwards, so it's kind of like mimicking a front squat. And we're using Mutant metal J-cups. You can see the J-cups. They're actually monolift J-cups. So as I stand up, the J-cup like snaps back out of the way. I can squat, and then I lean forward, and it catches and holds the bar for me. So this is just a cool thing. So I got these, we got these, my wife and I, because she does low bar squats, and we've been doing a lot of rehab for her, and it's just easier for her to find her positioning for her feet. One of the things we're rehabbing is her knees. So for her to be able to find her feet and then just stand up and start squatting is super easy for her. It's safer. So the monolift J-cups are awesome. And then also, I get to keep all my squat rack function. I don't have to have a monolift, which only does a monolift. So now I can just throw these J-cups on any rack and have a monolift whenever I want it. So the front squat position here, you can see in the video, I was warming up. This is my last working set. So I worked up to, I think it was 3 really hard sets of 5. And the front squat variation of this is just a really cool variation. It really targets your quadriceps, beats them up pretty well. I was focusing on maintaining good pinky toe pressure and really externally rotating my knees, making sure my knees didn't cave inward. Really awesome stimulus for the quadriceps. It absolutely rocked them. So it was super fun. Loved that variation. It worked really well. Then I decided to borderline kill myself, and I set up the Mars bar in kind of the regular way that you would use it, where the handles are in the front. And I'm set up for a split squat with our Bulgarian split squat pad behind me, and I have bands on the bar. So I'm doing a Bulgarian split squat with the Mars bar banded coming out of those J-cups. Freaking awesome. I took the weights off here so that way you could actually see the whole setup rather than having to look around like 25s or 45s or whatever. But this was atrocious. But I loved it. Absolutely loved it. This destroyed me. So after this, I was laying on the floor for a little while. But it was a really cool variation. I have some old injuries in my legs that I've been able to correct. Actually, even after the injuries, I've squatted 600 pounds in sleeves. So I've helped them heal, and they've gotten a lot better over the years. But this is something where if I do Bulgarian split squats, they tend to just basically find anything that's weak in your thigh, and they'll make it grow. So I love Bulgarian split squats. I program a lot for my clients. I program them all the time for myself. So I torture myself with all the torturous things I make my clients do because they're all freaking good for you. So I did a couple working sets of that. It was fantastic, wonderful, miserable, all the good stuff. Then to finish, I was doing a low, narrow stance on our leg press, you can see here. And I was trying to get a really big, full range of motion. So again, having the ankle mobility really helps you kind of get deeper into the stretch on movements, even like leg press. So I'm getting a real good stretch, tons of blood flow. I did a couple sets of 20, working up to one that I felt like I died during it, but it was fantastic. So that was my birthday workout. I did all the movement preparation stuff, loved it. Then I did the front squats with the Mars bar, then Bulgarian split squats with the Mars bar, then finished with some high rep leg presses. All wonderful, miserable stuff. As you can see here, I'm laying on the ground trying to smile to the camera. So I have like borderline heat stroke, just dying. But it was super fun. I really loved it. It was a fun way to celebrate my birthday, just getting to enjoy the gym that I've worked really, really hard to create. So I'm very blessed and happy to have all these things. If you want to learn more about training, find the free programs we have, all the other different programs we have, check out our website at www.brutalirongym.com.